Hello and welcome to KennyRoy.com. I'm Kenny Roy. This is the Ask Video Mail for the week of July 22nd, 2013. Welcome to the site to the new members and welcome back to the old. The Ask Video Mail is your chance to get your question in character animation or performance answered in a video just like this one, but I need your question if I'm going to answer it, so please send your questions to webmaster@kennyroy.com. I go through all the questions and I answer the ones that I think will help the most people. There is no such thing as a stupid question, and it is the best way to get the most out of this site. Man! On one hand, it felt like it was just coming so soon, and on the other hand, I never thought we'd get here. But Collabs has ended. Collabs 2013 was a raging success, and we've produced some unbelievable animation that I am so proud of. We're actually still working on just trying to wrap up the trailer that we started here at Collabs for our feature film project that we all own. You have no idea what I'm talking about by now. I think you should. But go to collabs.arconics.com and check out what I'm just blabbing about right now. I'm already starting to plan the Collabs 2014, which will be somewhere around February in 2014. That same link that I just showed you will have the updated Collabs information, so if you want to apply, you can do so on that page. But suffice it to say that I'm going to be releasing, we did a really quick flour sack short, where it's a flour sack trying to get over a wall. It's very cute. Everyone learned the pipeline and learned how to kind of like work together and see how the studio functions by working on that short film, and we finished it up and it's very cute, and I'll put it online in just a few days, and I think you'll enjoy it. I think you're really going to think it's fun. And so, but man, we're on the other side of it, at least the course portion of Collabs, and I am simultaneously energized and exhausted. So I don't know. I guess it couldn't be any better though. Why would I complain? I'm not complaining. To that end, I know there's been just so much speculation as to where the little painter is, and I have promised an update this week. I actually have, there's two things that are happening that I'm very excited about. One is I'm going to be getting my Google Glass, and I'm going to be recording the videos from my perspective as I'm animating. So I think that's going to be like the first time in history that there's really a POV behind the scenes of making an animated film. The second thing, and also the people who are the Kickstarter backers, on the level that you get the behind the scenes footage, you'll actually be able to be in the Hangout, the Google Hangout, with me as I'm working. That's kind of cool. The other thing is that I am working with an individual who is developing a plugin for Maya for the Leap motion controller, which is basically, it's about the size of like a USB key, and it plugs into your computer, and it basically gives you control by just using your hands, floating, just over your space. So we're going to be kind of working on making that work with Maya and moving things and manipulating things. So I think it's going to be a completely new paradigm for animation. I'm very excited to dev that in front of you guys as well. I have cleared my schedule. The rest of the summer is going to be dedicated to Little Painter. So anyway, that's the update. I will be putting that into an update that you guys will see on the official Kickstarter page as well, but just get jazzed, get excited. But first, this week, I'm at SIGGRAPH. I will see you guys at the Birds of a Feather for remote collaboration. You can just go to the SIGGRAPH website and look at the remote look at the Birds of the Feather schedule, and it is Wednesday from 3 to 5 p.m. I don't know what the room number is, but just look at the Birds of a Feather schedule on the SIGGRAPH website. Wednesday from 3 to 5 p.m. I will be definitely there, and I will be there tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday. All day. So if you want to hang out with me, if you want to hook up with me, then send me a tweet at Kenny Roy, or a Facebook message if you're there, and we'll try to bump into each other, okay? It'll be a lot of fun. Cool. Let's get to the question this week. It's a fun one. Let's take a look. Excellent. Okay, I wanted to answer this question. It's a little bit more on the technical side, but that's fine. But I wanted to answer this one because there are what ended up happening both in Animalia where we animated a short film in 2 weeks with 16 people, and in Collabs, where we animated a short film and a trailer for a feature film in 8 weeks, was there were rig updates. And the rig updates, sometimes they can screw up your stuff. And if you have a really good rigger that has, you know, the animators in mind, well, they can make scripts that kind of correct all these things for you. But you should still understand why it's happening and what you can do to kind of fix it. So I first want to talk about what basically Maya is doing. When you are copying animation, what Maya is doing is it's walking down the hierarchy, it's taking a look at the naming convention, and it's basically saying, okay, how is this named and what is the hierarchy, and let me actually just copy the animation off of these controls. If you had literally the exact same naming convention and hierarchy on a completely different object, the pasting the animation would work. Okay, or you could import the animation. But the reason I don't like to use the anim import and export is because it's kind of a little bit of a pain in the ass to open and close scenes and to save, copy all these extra files. So what I like to do is I just like to use the reference and then copy paste keys workflow. Okay, so look, I managed to say the word workflow in this lecture. Okay, look at me, I'm special. All right, let's take a quick look and I'll demonstrate this right now. Okay, so here we have, this is a character called Sam that I modeled and rigged for my upcoming book, Sam's Teach Yourself Maya in 24 Hours. Check out Amazon if you're interested in that. But anyway, so I have this simple scene where he's animated and basically he does this little jump forward. He's like, ta-da, look at me, I'm great. Okay, so Sam has, you know, I would say probably a very reduced number of controls for the amount of, you know, if you compare him to like a feature film rig or anything like that. But you know, but besides that, he has a hierarchy. He has a very set structure, and he's basically, you know, comparable to anything that you're going to run into in production, I would say. Well, if you want to copy this to a new rig, okay, let me show you what could be a problem. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a reference of Sam, because you should always be working with a reference workflow, okay? And when Sam is totally done, I might get an update from the rigger, and things might be a little bit different than, you know, what I was used to or how he looked before, right? So here's the new rig, okay? So let's say you exported this guy's animation, this guy that's actually moving. Okay, what you would do is you probably go File, Export Selection, and then you do the whole anim export thing. Well, that's great and all, but what that does is that actually just writes an ASCII file that has all of the information that is copied to the clipboard when you do the copy keys command. So if you can, if your computer can handle it, you're not getting any crashes or anything weird, then you should do that workflow. Okay, so this is basically how it works. All right. I'm going to select the top node in the rig, okay, and then I'm going to go Edit, Keys, I'm going to tear this off, Copy Keys, I'm going to open up the dialog, right, for the options, and here are your settings. Below, that means that everything below what is selected is going to get those keyframes. All keyable, that's right. These are not checked by default, but if you don't know what's gone into a rig, if you didn't make it yourself, then you want to check those things. Driven channels, control points, and shapes, okay? Time range is all, and then you want to do copy keys. So it's going to copy all of the keyframes on this character. I'm going to select this one, and then I'm going to go paste keys. Open up that dialog, right? And you're going to change it. The default, let me reset, okay? The default is current. You want to do clipboard, okay? So everything that was copied into the clipboard. Don't want to time or value offset anything. One copy, that's fine. And now we're just going to change down here. Instead of inserting these keys, we're going to replace and then entire curve. So it's replacing everything that is on here. Okay, even if there's a little bit of junk animation or we were screwing around, who cares? It doesn't matter. When we hit paste, and then here we have the animation. And now they both move perfectly. And even down to like the little bit of secondary that I have on top of Sam's little head fan right here. Okay, but here's something that can actually be a little bit troublesome. So I just did undo, and this Sam is actually what do you call it? He's actually imported into the scene. Because for a book, sometimes what they ask is that, you know, all of the files that you need in a book are actually imported in the scene. So we have a wrist wrist FK control, okay? Now, this wrist FK control is in the same hierarchy as the wrist FK control here. If I group it, I just grouped it. Now, that group has weird transforms on it, but as you can see, when it rotates, okay, that it gets the same animation. So pay no attention to the fact that the controller now freaks out. I'm just inserting a group in between where this controller is supposed to be for this new rig to be. So now truly this is like a totally new rig, right? So I'm going to go back, I'm going to hit copy keys. It's already saved our settings, so we don't need to do it again. And then I'm going to go paste keys. Okay? And what you'll notice is that, see how the wrist is totally screwed up? The wrist isn't doing the same thing it used to. Or if you look over here, it's not doing the same thing that it's supposed to. Okay? That's a problem. So what you need to do is, the workflow is very simple. You just select the controls that are getting screwed up, and then you do a copy and paste keys on just those controls, okay? Because what's happening over here is it's walking down the hierarchy. There's a spine, and then some groups and some offsets, and then the shoulder, groups and offsets, constrains, joints, constrains, controls, groups, and then there's a group here that's not right here. So it stops. It says, wait, I can't find the controller. I'm not going to paste that animation. So just select the controller, okay? Copy keys. Then I'm just going to go to the wrist control over here. You see here. And then paste keys, there we go. Now, as it happens now, he does the right animation. Okay, so that is basically it. That is the basic workflow. He has all the animation that the other one has now. All it took was just finding where there's a disconnect in the rig, and for the most part, all the rigs that you're going to get, all the rig updates that you're going to get, especially in production, are not going to be of the sort that you would have to do anything more than this. If there is something like a complete reroute of the spine, then that rigger would be responsible for creating a script that would reorder your animation and apply it to the new spine. That's like where the cutoff is, right? But in general, though, in production, you are responsible for getting your animation to work with a rig that might have, just like this one, just like one offset group on a wrist, who knows why, to do something extra with the rig. And then knowing how to copy and paste your animation really comes as a huge benefit, so you're not the only person that's like raising your hand and saying, hey, can someone fix my broken scene? Because you don't want to be that person. You want to be a problem solver, you don't want to be a problem creator. So in general, that's my basic workflow. It's not too complicated. You should all be able to do this. If you're interested in that character, he comes with the book, Sam's Teach Yourself Maya in 24 Hours. You can look for it on Amazon. It's coming out soon. I appreciate you guys being here. It's a really good question. Please send more to webmaster@kennyroy.com. I appreciate that as well. Good luck with your animation, and as always, rock on.